if you're a founder and you're thinking, gee, I've had this thought and I don't have a solution and it's kind of like bothering me. And, by this point in my life, I should have figured this stuff out. Well, get in line. We are here on Connect and Convert to talk about the true confessions of business owners and business founders, the true confessions they don't tell anybody. They don't even tell their spouse. These are their secret thoughts as if they were written in their diary. And we're getting inside their diary. And aren't we, Leah? Aren't we, Paul? We're getting inside their diary and saying, oh, that's what
It's one of
you.
those little locks with the little key.
Yeah, remember
Easy to
those?
break into.
I used to break into my sisters. I had
Oh, I
3 sisters.
knew it. I
I
knew
have
it.
3 sisters, and they had those little locks on there. Oh, boy, I became a lock picker.
So all you need to do, you guys, is take somebody out to coffee and just start asking questions. You don't need to
Aw,
pick. You don't need to pick
you're so
locks.
sweet.
It's-
There's no fun in that.
I know. No.
So anyway, we're back on Connect and Convert. We tell the real stories, the true confessions of small business owners and business founders. We try to make it safe for you to think those thoughts and to name those thoughts because you can't do anything about it until you name it. So this podcast is 100% about you, about helping you name it and helping you find solutions. So today, here is the confession of a small business owner. And these are real, by the way. We all have multiple decades of experience.
I feel like these confessions came wrapped in brown paper and like I don't know. I keep waiting.
In brown paper,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, no
No
labels
return
on
address.
it. No return address. Yeah, exactly. Or from the dark web somewhere, from some unknown
Actually,
email address.
before we get to the confession and that
Yeah.
nice wrapping paper, is as a listener of this podcast,
Yes.
what I want you to do is I want you to go to whatever program, service, whatever that you're listening to us to, and I want you to write a comment
Yes,
as
please.
to what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
getting out of this, and more importantly, what keeps you up at night.
Yeah.
Because those things, and the more detail, the better, but even the simple things, it helps us provide more value to you.
For sure.
So please take just a few moments and go find the comment section and just add your comment.
And especially if you disagree, because you're going to hear things on this whole series of confessions. You're going to hear things you don't agree with. Or maybe you have a question about what the hell do they mean by that? That will give us direction. We actually read those. So thank you, Paul, for that. Okay, you ready? You ready for the confession?
Bring it.
Here it goes. Real confession from a real business owner. When we lose a deal, almost 100% of the time, they tell me it was because our price was too high. Now, I'm not stupid. I know the high price excuse used by salespeople, that's been going on since the beginning of time. That's easy. It puts the blame back on me. It's not their fault. It's my fault because I'm setting that price as the owner. Well, guess what? I don't believe this. I don't think that's true. I don't trust my salespeople. I'll be real frank. That's part of my confession. I don't trust them. Okay, I don't think they're giving me the right information. They're just not telling me the truth. I don't know how to address this effectively. I mean, I'm not sure. My belief is that buyers are willing to pay more when they trust you and they value the seller and the solution. So, but honestly, I have no idea how to track this down. It's just a fear that I have, and it's something that is a trust issue with my sales team, and that's not good.
Paul, I'm letting you go because I am getting so irritated listening to this ass.
Ooh, maybe I don't want to go. Maybe I don't want to stand in front of this train here. But what I will say is,
duck, Paul, duck.
Yeah, is in that confession, what I'm hearing is the pricing excuse is simply an insulation from bigger problems.
Bigger problems like what?
Clarity, understanding,
Clarity.
self-value, not just in the service or product, but in thyself, the salesperson.
Self-value. That's a good one.
But it also goes into the leadership value, leadership in themselves. Confidence and confidence within themselves and in the organization as a whole. The pricing excuse is simply an installation to bigger problems.
Wow.
The only thing this guy said that has any merit is that,
Yeah.
yes, buyers will pay more when they trust and value the seller and the solution. Yes, people buy more or are willing to pay more. That's the only thing he said that I think has any validity.
Then why are my salespeople telling me it's always price?
Well, he said it. I'm saying you, Dennis. I don't mean to direct this at you, but you read this guy's stuff. He's all
Sorry.
about not
Sorry.
trusting his people. He doesn't trust it. He
I don't
doesn't
trust them,
believe
no.
it. He doesn't even trust himself to know how to have any transfer of confidence to his people.
Right.
This whole thing is shaky. There's no way this business should be in business. This guy should not be
Really?
owning. He
They
should not
shouldn't
be
even
owning
be
a
in
business.
business.
No,
They shouldn't even be in business.
you know, if he doesn't understand why
He
his
should
stuff,
be deprived of his right to own a business, right?
yes, I sure wouldn't work for him. Would you guys work for this guy? He doesn't
Well,
trust you?
not knowingly. No, of course not. Who would?
No.
But remember, Leah, these are silent confessions. They don't tell anybody this, not even their own spouse. This is their silent, alone moment. So
And there's
you
no
wouldn't.
absolution from me on this one. Sorry.
Well, I can,
We
I
gotta
can tell.
dig. We're gonna have to dig. We're gonna have to dig really deep.
Well,
We're gonna-
so you say these are private conversations or private thoughts. No, I've had this conversation many times with a few different owners.
They will have it with us as
Confidants.
consultants.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, again, but they don't tell their team this.
No, hell no.
I mean, they won't say, "Hey, I don't trust you guys." Oh, some of them do, might, and then of course we have a whole nother
Well,
problem. But
Actually, I can name I can think of one right now.
yeah, I can too. So yeah, I guess that's not universally true, but most owners are not going to go out there and just accuse them of being untrustworthy.
And
They'll
I'm
say
gonna
something like,
soften. I'm gonna soften a little bit because
Go ahead.
he is asking how to address this effectively. And
That is correct.
what I'm going to believe that he's asking is how does he correct his lack of trust in his salespeople? Because if he thinks
Okay.
they're lying, we need to fix that. When I was a new mom, there was stuff I didn't know, and I thought I was gonna be pretty good, but there's stuff I didn't know. How did I solve that? And I thought I was gonna be really good because I'm the oldest of 7, so I had experience with babies.
Wow.
But how did I solve the problem? I talked to other moms. I talked to my mom. I read tons of stuff, and I made mistakes that I then corrected.
Okay.
Right?
So
Because if you don't know, if you believe you don't know how to do something, there's ways, and so he's taking that step with us.
yeah. So Leah, what you just said is very consistent with what you've said on some of our other confessions, right? That if you don't know how to do something, buck up, buddy, get it done and figure it out. I don't know. That sounds a little harsh to me.
You know what? It's not. It's harder not to because he's gonna end up not having a business. These salespeople are not gonna have a job. If there are reasons why, and if he's not a trainer, some people are not trainers. We all love training. Some people are not trainers. Then you hire a trainer. You hire a trainer to be able to, okay, because sometimes people come from selling low-end products. We all know you have 4 choices with a product. You can be cheap, you can be fast, you can be good, you can be expensive. You only get 3 of those, right? You can't be cheap or too you can't be cheap and good. You can't so if you
Right.
don't know how to
Something
if you
like that. Yeah.
yeah, you have it on the tip of your tongue better than me.
Yeah.
I feel it in my heart.
I always get confused on that one, but I know what you're talking about. You can
Yeah.
have cheap, fast, or good. I think
Right.
it's 3, but you can't have all 3.
Right.
I think that's
Right.
how it goes. But
Yeah,
anyway, go ahead. Yeah,
that's
but I get the point. Okay.
So hire someone to help you do this, and if
Okay,
you
so
can't hire someone, then again,
let
it's
me
communication.
let me ask you this. Okay. So basically, you're talking a business owner and a business founder, in my experience, generally did not come up through sales. They were not great salespeople. They became good to some level in sales because at first they were probably the only ones selling whatever it is they do. But later, as they scaled, they had to pass that off to somebody else. Okay. So the big question in my mind is, are business owners and founders, for the most part, great coaches and trainers or lousy coaches and trainers? Can we put a bucket together, two buckets? They're great coaches, trainers, they're lousy coaches and trainers. Where would you tend to go, Paul? Which way would you go?
The one question I think I heard was, are owners, typically good or not so great coaches?
At
Is that correct?
training and coaching,
At
yeah.
training
Training
coaching.
and coaching, yeah.
Okay. In my experience,
Yeah.
they are not good at coaching or training.
Okay.
Let me back that up actually a little bit. They're good at training the thing that they are selling. Meaning, if they're selling a
Mhm.
service, they're good
Got it.
at training how to use the service or what the service provides or whatnot, which can translate into great training for sales if they understand what they're doing. But most owners that I've interacted with, they became an owner either because they inherited it,
Right.
or because they're really good at this one thing and they said, hey, I should go do this, leave this job and go do it over here. And they started to
Right.
do just that,
Right.
which is great. But there are also many other aspects of having a great company that requires completely different, completely opposite knowledge. And to be good at what you do, being a business owner, you cannot do it all. There's no possible way, especially if you want to scale. Now, if you don't want to scale, fine, that's a whole different subject. But if you want to continue to scale, not everybody wants to or has to, you've got to bring people on from the outside who can do those things.
I can't afford that. Come on, man. I'm trying to make a little profit here. So you're saying,
You can't afford not
number
to.
well, yeah, but you're telling me that I'm not a good trainer. I'm not a good coach. Okay, I'll buy that. I'm probably not. But I got to go out and hire somebody. That's going to cost me a bloody fortune. You guys are just trying to sell sales training, aren't you?
What
You're just,
okay, why is it that we are comfortable going to a doctor for expertise?
because I'm sick.
I'm comfortable going to somebody who knows computers to help me set up my stuff.
Right,
I
right.
am more than happy to let somebody else tell me why my four-wheel drive is not going into four-wheel drive.
All right.
But when it comes to something intangible that I just, for some reason, feel I should have magical abilities, I'm not willing to go to someone else. That just it's a license for failure.
Okay. So there's a thing out there called immunity to change.
Oh, there's another fabulous
Hey,
word.
No,
There
but
it is.
boomerism.
that
A
isn't actually,
boomerism.
that isn't, no, that
Boomerism.
is not a boomerism. That is Dr. Richard Keegan
You're
and
right. You told
Lisa
me about
Leahy.
this before.
Yes.
Yes.
And they both teach at Harvard. They're both professors. And everybody, just like our bodies, we actually have we have an immunity to change. Our bodies are working in a certain way. And when we push it, it's going, whoa, 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 I don't want to do that. Like, working out, we know we need it, but our body's saying, yeah, it's much better just to sit here and go, right? The same thing happens psychologically. So it's much more easier. I can give myself excuses all the day long saying, I can't afford that. No, it's going to eat into my profit margins, this and that, because there's an immunity because it's comfortable. Great. But what is really honestly underneath that comfort level? Are you afraid? What are you truly afraid of? It's not about spending the money. It's
What are
about
you afraid of?
possibly not looking at the part that you think you should be owning.
So in other words, if you hire an outside, and we're talking sales today, but you hire an outside sales trainer, that shows that you're incompetent.
For some people, yes. But they won't admit that, and they
Wow.
may not even know it.
Yeah.
because that's the
That's an
immunity.
interesting take. So they take it personally that they should be able to do this and they can't, so they got to go hire someone else to do it.
Yes. And what's
But
even worse is
back
that
to the
quite
doctor thing.
quite often they have other people in their lives saying and reinforcing that desire not to change. "Oh, you're the owner, you can take care of that. You don't need to hire
Yeah.
somebody else." And they
Yeah.
internalize that and just
Just
So is this
handle that.
is this a muscle you can exercise, Paul?
oh yes. It is it is definitely a muscle that you can exercise. But I will say it requires somebody who understands how to take somebody through the process to dig deep, because it is some deep
Ooh.
work to understand, okay, why am I not doing the thing? Why am I not taking heart medicine when I know it's the thing that's going to save me my life?
Oh, yeah. So here's some just popped into my head based on what you guys are telling me. Uh, I think. Um, One of the things that I deal with salespeople when talking or training salespeople is creating the fear of doing nothing. What is the fear? What's going to happen if you don't solve this problem? Okay. Uh, that fear, and it's called FOMO sometimes, fear of missing out. What are you going to miss out on if you don't solve this problem? Isn't that what we're talking about here? Isn't that about how to create a case for hiring outside training?
Well, it's even more dangerous than that because you're recognizing an issue. In all of you recognize that this is something you have to fix,
Yeah,
but
you
you're
obviously
not
have
willing to
this.
do it.
Yeah.
So it's more than just even a fear of missing out. It's an active um, immunity to change issue that you're just like not willing to move on. And
Yeah. So,
And
what do we?
so what it comes down to, I think, is it's a lack of trust that doesn't start with bad intent, but it starts with missing language. And when you have a language, then you're able to do something about it. And when the language is missing,
Hmm.
training turns into guesswork.
Okay, stop right there. Another one. Training turns into guesswork. Tell us more about that.
You don't have a language. You have Leah often asks us, define. What is the definition of?
Right. Define your
Right?
terms.
If you
Right.
don't have the terms, if you don't have the language, then just hiring somebody to come in and train or yourself train just turns into guesswork, because you're floating around trying to do something that you don't all agree on because you have different points of view.
it might not be industry specific. It might not speak the language of your area. Up here in Canada, there's different specifics that are necessary and important that a salesperson transported from the southern states here wouldn't get
Right. And
necessarily.
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
and I, and I feel like we've kind of gotten off course a little bit because we're talking about pricing, and people
Yeah.
say, "Well, our price is too high." To maybe what we should maybe change it to is, we don't know where the trust broke down, because my opinion is about trust. We don't know where the trust broke down in the
Yeah.
buying process. They're trying to figure that out, and they don't know how to figure that out. And when price is blamed, it usually means that
With the
value.
customer, you're talking. The customer,
Right, right.
not inside the business,
Not
to the
well,
customer.
it can be inside business too, but yes, the customer here I'm talking about. Sorry, but and
Yeah.
when price is blamed, it usually means value wasn't experienced,
Right.
but was only explained. Right?
Ooh, there's another good one. Value was explained but not experienced.
And
What's the
and that
difference?
comes down that makes me think of storytelling, which of course we're sponsored by wizardacademy.org, which is all about stories as kind of a portal to what's next. So we can all think, and we've identified different areas where people do this, but having a story and having business owners be very specific with someone who knows how to pull that language out.
It, yeah, because pitching is loud, right? Pitching is loud, but trust is quiet, and quiet things are harder to track. If you
Yep.
can't articulate why buyers don't trust enough to proceed, the price becomes the default explanation. Again, that's the insulation from the bigger problem.
And that's the easy thing to blame.
Exactly.
Obviously, that's, oh, it costs too much. So should I, as a business owner, go out and hire? Is there a sales trainer that helps you understand how to build value? Is that what I'm hearing? That's who I should hire? I need to do something.
It doesn't actually know. This is contrarian a little bit right here.
All right.
You don't need a sales trainer. Not yet. Because as I believe, again, this confession shows a bigger issue. And that issue starts at the top. The person at the top is not clear, either isn't clear or hasn't clearly articulated what they're so clear about to everybody else. So therefore, you don't have people, therefore you have people saying, oh, it's the price, right? You don't need a sales trainer yet. You need somebody to get in the head of the owner to yank the stuff out and say, okay, how far have you really thought about this? How much have you really thought about this? And how much have you actually communicated consistently to your staff? Until then, you can hire sales trainers. And yes, you will make progress most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time.
No, not all the time.
Until you have clarity from the owner and from the leadership team, sales trainings only go so far.
So you're getting back to, you know how many times we talk about clarity in these episodes?
Yep.
I'll bet if you go back and listen to all the podcasts in this series that we're doing, I'll bet the word clarity is the most often repeated word. Would that be a fair statement?
I think so. There's
We
also
talk-
something really basic that we're ignoring, you guys.
What's that?
Are they too expensive?
Aha.
Nah,
Like, okay,
that's very
like
valid. That is very valid.
just like we're going in because, and I know we work with many clients and it's high value propositions and they are the highest value
Yeah.
and the most expensive and for a reason. But I've also worked with people and I'm sorry, you are pricing yourself out of this market, or your price is not a reflection of the service or the actual product that you're doing. This stuff is crap that you're getting built overseas and bring it, like, is it too expensive?
Wow. How do you determine that?
That's where you're talking to yourself. Again, clarity comes from communication. You talk to your competition, you talk to your staff, you talk to your manufacturer or where this is coming from, and you do it at a marketplace analysis.
So not only are we asking our listeners, you, to comment on this, but also in the description of this podcast, you will find a downloadable PDF, the Founders Small Business Owner Sales Trust Playbook. And the principle number 4 is titled, Price is the Final Chapter, Not the First Argument.
Right.
Download it. Download it, read it, ingest it, understand it, the rest of it. And this will all start making much more sense than we're already attempting to do.
Well, we think we're making sense.
We think we're
We
making
hope.
sense, yes. But but go download that. You'll find that again. You'll find that link in the description of these podcasts. But I want to
Yeah,
start
thank
kind
you,
of
Paul. Yeah.
wrapping this up because
Yeah.
Leah, you're absolutely right. Price may be the actual issue, but you have to understand. Okay, is it? How do you do that? What do you do with that? Can you go up? Can you go down? Things like that. What do you each get out of this conversation?
Well, I'll tell you what my experience is. My experience is that it's usually not price. That is a false response from salespeople who have not learned how to create value. Is it impossible to be on price? Not impossible, but it's rare that your price is too high. If it is too high, you didn't do your homework in the first place, and shame on you for mispricing it. A couple phrases that stuck out to me: value explained, but not experienced. Wow, that's powerful. I explained the value. I walked you through it. But I didn't tell you the story, did I, Paul? I didn't tell you the emotional story of someone who realized the emotional value of what we sell. Value was explained, but not experienced. And price may be too high, but I would say, in my experience, that's usually not the case. And training can only do so much. We talked about mindset. We talked about clarity. If you adopt any type of training, particularly sales training, you better have a very tight definition of what you want to accomplish and how it's going to be installed. The biggest problem I've seen from small business owners is doing a one-off training event, a day away. We go out and we have a party and we learn, and tomorrow 70% of it is already forgotten. That's a waste of time and money. If you want to just have a party, go ahead. Don't even bother with the training because you're wasting your money.
Leah, bring it home.
I think that business owners, we deal mostly with family businesses. I know business owners that mortgage their homes, who borrowed
Yeah.
money from their aging parents, who put everything them and their spouse had into, buying out their parents. Like, my heart is with business owners that are family-run businesses, and as they grow, and sometimes it's hard to even recognize them because they get so big. But with that has to come the realization that you can't do everything, you don't know everything. There's power in people helping, and that applies to business. It applies to real life that we live every day. If you're not willing to ask for help, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, man, there's only so much you're gonna be able to scale, and that's not where I am. I wanna help people, and I know, gents, you too. We wanna help people go like, "Wow, I didn't know how easy that could be." That's fun.
I love how Leah packages things. You're a good packager. Okay, well, don't forget to follow us, like us, subscribe. But most of all, as Boomer pointed out earlier, please, we love your comments and argue with us. Tell us we're full of beep. Maybe we really.
Not me, not me.
Well, you can tell me. I don't care. I've been told that so much in my life. I'm immune to it. So we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love you to join us on every episode of Connect and Convert. I'm Dennis. The good-looking one is Leah, and the smart one is Paul. Okay? It's Dennis, Leah, and Paul. We are Connect and Convert. Just so you know, we have spent decades listening to small business owners and founders just like you. We've listened into their fears, their confessions. We've worked with their teams. So in this podcast, we talk about only real fears, real pressure, real moments that decide whether a business is going to grow or quietly stalls. This is where those conversations finally happen, right here. You're safe on Connect and Convert. We'll see you next time.